think I'm quite inspired. Hearing from the people we work with and seek to support out there and hearing firsthand is super powerful and empowering to do what we want to do for them and with them. So I feel that has empowered me and inspired me to move along the journey with them.
Really positive. I think it's a good opportunity to be able to hear directly from people who've settled in Australia recently, hear what they see as priorities, what their experiences have been, and to hear insights about life in Australia, which, as someone born and raised here, I actually wouldn't, the observations that I would be unaware of, or issues that I would be unaware of from people. So.
Look, I feel good that there is a movement to improve provision of settlement services and to try to really get the voices of clients into the conversation, because they often are missing. So it's great to see that is actually happening and that SSI is moving in that direction.
Absolutely energised.
I'm actually very grateful for this event. I found it very useful as somebody working with the community more than 20 years. And I can see in this event we gathered a lot of information and a lot of progress in the client settlement, specifically Iranian.
I think sitting at a table with a lady who came here on a student visa, and she arrived here, and for the first 5 years she was completely on her own because she had no access to the kind of information that refugees receive access and connections to. And after 5 years she discovered that she could have accessed free English classes, but by the time she discovered it was too late. She could no longer access them because she'd been beyond that point. And she was someone who came to Australia with so many skills, and again she discovered that she went to seek advice around building a resume in Australia because it's quite different to her home country. She was turned away essentially. So we're closing doors to people who are coming here on certain visa classes, and they are people who have absolutely ability to contribute to society and get a really good job and just generally come here and work quickly, but we're closing doors.
One of the things which actually came through quite strongly in a way that I wasn't anticipating was the value of health services in Australia. We take our health system for granted. We know what its flaws are, but in comparison to access to health services that people have had in the countries of origin, and particularly in the countries of asylum where they've lived for some years, there's actually not only a lot to be happy with in relation to Australia's health services, but actually also a lot for us to ensure that it's protected for newcomers in the future.
Look, I don't know whether it's a new discovery, but what I've taken away is the value that community has in the work that we do, and how much we rely, but also it plays an incredible role in the settlement journey, and to empower communities, empower those that are going through that journey. So I take away the reassurance that, I think we need to focus on doing the best we can and more for the community, because ultimately it's the community who carries others. And I also think that a learning is, or something to reassure as well, is that we really need to make sure that we don't burn our communities, that we support them. I think that's important.
Look, I found Dr. Yusuf's comments very interesting, especially his reflection on being picked up from the airport, and the image of welcome, and feeling that someone used his language to welcome him, and that of the airport is really an image that it seems to have stayed with him. The welcome, the warm welcome that he received on that day, that is the first thing. And so that image he talks about, I found that really moving.
What I like about today's event is making progress and change. I think it's a very good idea that we have all these different organizations that somehow relate to settlement. So I've noticed that we have people from Navitas, we have people from TAFE, we have community centers here and we also have a society. So we all have a big role in clients' journey and settlement. And also we have the clients here to raise their point and their opinion, and also then all the consortiums and organizations can hear their say and hopefully make the progress for the future.
It's not a quote that I liked, but it's a quote that sort of spoke to me, and I'm going to read it. A client explained that her child was repeatedly asked to clean their face by other children and not to play with them, and this made the child sad and not want to go back to school. So yeah, that's a sad comment. But it says something about the experience of children and how children, because they're different, I assume in this case, although I don't know the details, that other children can play with them at school. And so what does that mean to the child, and what does that mean to the parent who is hoping that their child will do well at school and benefit from being at school, for the child to come back to them crying, saying, nobody wants me, I'm not going to school. So it's very sad, but that's the sort of reality that many families experience when they arrive in Australia and try to settle.
6 years old, who grew up in an outdoor environment without rules and has been thrusted into structured learning environment or playground. It will be a gradually process for that child to fit in. Solution is not sending lots of letters or yellow cards to parents for this issue, but teachers taking the lead, working together as a team to support the child. Families are suffering and they ask the question why they came to Australia.
I took big heart for being helpful to others. I overcome challenges and accepted what was imposed upon me without losing self-confidence and self-esteem.
Medicare means a lot to me. I was sick back home for many years. Once I came to Australia, then I was supported under the medical system. An unusual observation about life in Australia, many people walked barefoot. We later discovered it was an Australian phenomenon.
I think what's next for me, I think there's a lot we can do in our own organisation, and I think there's a lot that the New South Wales Settlement Partnership can do collectively. In our own organisation, we often focus very, very heavily on the refugee experience. I've learnt today that we also need to focus on the migrant experience, as well as temporary visa holders who we already try to work with and aren't funded to do so. But I think the NSP can do more. I think we can do more collaboratively. We can do more through advocacy, and we can probably just do more by presenting more information, having some collective information that's provided.